A modern world war would not open with city bombings or beach invasions. It would begin with precision strikes against command centers, nuclear coordination sites, and cyber infrastructure, designed to paralyze American military power within hours. 7 states sit at the center of that targeting calculus, and we are ranking them by strategic value to an adversary. The state at number 1 holds the densest concentration of military command power on Earth. And finally, in first place, Virginia forms the very heart of American military command, naval power, and intelligence. This corridor stretches from the Pentagon in Arlington through Naval Station Norfolk to the intelligence centers clustered around Langley. The Pentagon itself is more than a symbol. It houses the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the headquarters of all 11 unified combatant commands, coordinating every branch of U.S. military operations worldwide. Just a short drive south, Norfolk stands as the world's largest naval base, home to 73 warships, including 6 aircraft carriers and 19 submarines. These vessels anchor the Atlantic Fleet, ready to deploy across the globe at a moment's notice. Further inland, Langley Air Force Base supports rapid response fighter wings and intelligence operations, while the nearby CIA headquarters adds a layer of covert capability that has shaped U.S. strategy for decades. During the Cold War, Soviet planners marked this entire corridor as a single decapitation target. Declassified strike maps from 1973 show the Pentagon and Norfolk highlighted as priority nodes, with the intent to sever American command and naval power in one blow. U.S. defense briefings in the late 1970s echoed that vulnerability, listing Norfolk and Langley among the most exposed assets in a first strike scenario. Today, these facilities are hardened, underground levels, blast-resistant bunkers, and classified safe rooms designed to survive nuclear attack or electromagnetic pulse. Yet the rise of hypersonic missiles and cyber-enabled targeting has compressed warning times and challenged the survivability of even the most fortified sites. Russian and Chinese doctrine now envisions precision strikes that could paralyze this corridor before a full-scale response is possible. No other region in the United States brings together so much command authority, naval might, and intelligence capability in such close proximity. Taking out this corridor would not just disrupt operations, it would cripple America's ability to coordinate defense, deploy forces, and maintain global deterrence. In the logic of a modern world war, Virginia's Pentagon-Norfolk-Langley corridor is the single highest value target, shaping every adversary's first strike calculations. In second place, Colorado's Cheyenne Mountain stands as the most formidable early warning bunker in the United States. Deep inside 2,000 feet of granite, a network of 15 steel-framed buildings rests atop more than 1,300 massive springs, each designed to absorb the shock of a nuclear detonation. The entrance is shielded by 2 doors that weigh 25 tons, engineered to survive the pressure wave from a 30-megaton explosion less than 1 mile away, a level of protection unmatched anywhere else in the country. Inside, the complex fuses data from ground-based radars, satellites, and seaborne sensors, processing around 3,000 missile alerts daily. This is the command node for NORAD, responsible for detecting and tracking any incoming attack, and relaying those warnings to military and civilian leaders in seconds. The core mission here is speed, the ability to spot a launch, verify its trajectory, and trigger a national response before enemy warheads arrive. If Cheyenne Mountain is blinded by a direct strike, a cyber breach, or an electromagnetic pulse, the United States loses its launch-on-warning capability, making the entire nuclear deterrent vulnerable to a decapitation strike. While Peterson and Schriever Air Force bases now handle much of the day-to-day command, Cheyenne Mountain remains the only fully EMP-hardened backup, ready to reactivate within hours. For any adversary planning a first strike, neutralizing this facility is essential to opening a window for attack before a U.S. response can be coordinated. The mountain's engineering is legendary, but its role as America's eyes and its single point of failure keeps it at the top of every serious targeting plan. Third on our list, Washington State stands at the crossroads of America's sea-based nuclear deterrent and its West Coast aerospace supply chain. Naval base Kitsap, tucked into the deep waters of Puget Sound, is home to the largest single concentration of operational nuclear warheads in the United States. 8 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines rotate through Kitsap's docks, each capable of carrying up to 24 Trident 2D5 missiles. Open-source estimates suggest that, at any given time, 4 of these submarines, armed with as many as 96 missiles, are in port, while their counterparts patrol the Pacific, ready to launch if national command authority is lost. The Strategic Weapons Facility Pacific, adjacent to the base, maintains a reserve stockpile, allowing for rapid reloading and ensuring that the second strike capability remains credible even under sustained attack. Just north of Seattle, Boeing's Everett plant produces around 150 commercial airframes each year, with military derivatives supporting naval aviation and allied fleets. In a major conflict, disrupting this production line would slow the replenishment of fighters, tankers, and surveillance aircraft vital for Pacific operations. Chinese and Russian planners have both identified Kitsap and Boeing's facilities as high-value targets in their own wargame simulations, recognizing that neutralizing these assets would not only blunt America's nuclear response, but also hamper its ability to project air power across the Pacific. Where Colorado's Cheyenne Mountain provides the early warning, Washington's submarines and aerospace factories embody the hardware of retaliation, making the state a central node in the logic of modern first-strike targeting. Number 4 on our list, Nebraska's Offutt Air Force Base stands as the central nervous system for America's nuclear command and control. Deep beneath the runways, U.S. Strategic Command, STRATCOM, oversees the entire nuclear triad, integrating land-based missiles, submarine-launched warheads, and strategic bombers under a single launch authority. This is the node that translates early warning into action. Without an intact STRATCOM, even the most powerful deterrent force becomes inert. Offutt's underground command center is engineered to survive a 5 psi overpressure, shielding its staff and communications from all but the most direct nuclear strike. Yet the real insurance policy is airborne. The Looking Glass Fleet, a group of specially equipped KC-135 and RC-135 aircraft, maintains a continuous 24/7 presence in the skies. These flying command posts are EMP hardened and capable of issuing launch orders even if ground bunkers are destroyed. During the chaos of September 11, 2001, President Bush was flown to Offutt, underscoring its role as the fallback for national leadership. In a crisis, these airborne and underground layers ensure that the United States retains the ability to retaliate, preserving the credibility of its deterrent. For any adversary, disabling STRATCOM, on the ground or in the air, would be the only way to guarantee that America's nuclear arsenal remains silent. Number 5. Hawaii stands as America's forward-deployed nerve center in the Pacific, anchoring both the U.S. Pacific Fleet and the Indo-Pacific Command. Pearl Harbor's docks host 5 aircraft carriers and a rotation of submarines and destroyers, making it the largest naval assembly between California and Japan. Above the waterline, Aegis Ashore missile defense batteries and THAAD interceptors form a shield against ballistic threats, their SM-3 missiles tested to intercept intermediate-range warheads in flight. Yet the geography that made Hawaii a bulwark in World War II now exposes it to new dangers. Chinese DF-21D and DF-26 ballistic missiles, with ranges exceeding 2,000 kilometers, can reach Oahu from launch points deep inside mainland China. If an adversary disables Pearl Harbor and Indopacom's joint headquarters, the United States would lose its ability to coordinate carrier strike groups, rapid deployments, and missile defense across the Indo-Pacific. This isolation would open the way for regional aggression, cutting off reinforcements and blinding U.S. response options in a crisis. In first strike logic, Hawaii is not just a symbol, it is the keystone that holds the Pacific defense arc together, and its vulnerability is a lesson in how modern warfare targets forward command and coordination before any ground is contested. Fort Meade in Maryland is the epicenter of America's digital warfare. Behind its barriers, the National Security Agency and U.S. Cyber Command process 2 billion records daily, sweeping up intercepted communications, satellite feeds, and digital traces from around the world. Over 400 offensive cyber teams operate here, tasked with launching preemptive digital strikes or defending critical infrastructure at a moment's notice. With an estimated annual budget between $10 and $20 billion, the scale of operations rivals entire federal agencies. U.S. doctrine now treats cyber as the opening move in conflict, aiming to blind enemy command networks before any physical attack. Fort Meade's EMP-hardened data centers are built to withstand both physical and digital threats, yet the SolarWinds breach showed how vulnerable even the most fortified hubs can be. Disabling Fort Meade would cripple U.S. intelligence and digital defenses nationwide. Number 7. California. Anchors the industrial and technological backbone that feeds every other critical node in the U.S. defense network. Silicon Valley's defense contractors, from Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works to SpaceX and Northrop Grumman, generate more than $20 billion in defense research and development each year. This is where next-generation AI, hypersonic weapons, and satellite constellations are conceived and built, supplying hardware and digital infrastructure to command centers across the country. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach handle over 9 million containers annually, nearly a third of all U.S. imports and a major share of military resupply, making them the largest logistics choke point in North America. Disrupting these ports would sever the flow of ammunition, vehicles, and electronics needed to sustain a long war. Just up the coast, Vandenberg Space Force Base launches more than 30 polar orbit satellites a year, maintaining the missile warning and reconnaissance networks that underpin command and control nationwide. For adversaries seeking to paralyze America's ability to resupply, innovate, and maintain global awareness, California's mix of defense R&D, logistics, and space launch capability is a force multiplier and a priority target in any opening strike. Across these 7 states, one pattern is clear. The true targets are America's nerve centers, where command, nuclear deterrence, cyber power, and global logistics converge. Modern conflict isn't about territory, it's about paralyzing coordination. In today's world, power depends on what you can still control after the first strike.